Hey peeps, Pinkle16 here on one of my own videos to commentate over. Super Mario 64, A Day of Sadness. Okay, there's a long story behind this video. I never intended to actually make a proper video about this at all. This kind of subject was not the subject I was gonna kind of go on about since it was all over social media anyway. It didn't really need to have any more prominence. But back in October 2013 in YTR, a lot of things happened. In August of that year, several members left and or had issues with Starman, and the effects of that reverberated across several months after that, especially after Mario 761 left the community and several other people lost interest in making their color codes, making machinimas. It was a huge drop, especially after what had happened. So, with so many members leaving and or having a negative opinion of the group, this affected me a lot because I didn't want YTR to die at the time because I saw Starman 3 and his group as pretty amazing, especially after how much he'd quote-unquote treated me since he never actually cared. But I explained some of the things in this video, albeit horribly, where I just sit in my room and mope. And I call my room, the Cool Mountain room. So I'll help explain this. I don't have the best memory of this video, but I'm sure the actual explanations will help, explain it to me. This is my general Super Mario 64 intro in general, when it's not a short take, or it's not, an adventures video. It'll just like have a random as intro that just says it's a Super Mario 64 video. I ditched this. It's better to start with the actual video. See, the intro even says it for just whatever. Yeah. By the way, I have a scene here. It's kind of referencing when we made Randomness 9, which I'll talk about when I get to. The whole picture actually is a photo of like 6 people in the group where it was a mask picture I made where there were 6 of us, including me. And I grayed it out because it was supposed to be an old picture of early 2013 when we had fun. Because I had a lot of fun in early 2013. Isn't there? I kinda intended to use Jinder for these scenes since it would make a lot of sense to use the one that wants to be like me in these scenes. Plus he's kinda like the second character, the sidekick, so it would make sense. Also think of that like a computer screen because, you know, or have a computer in front of me because I'm just staring at a wall. What I'm saying here is that February, since I joined in February, it changed my life. I have a video planning to release eventually that I'll probably help explain this much better. The year of change for me. It seemed to be a depressing place at the time I made the video. In the beginning, it was a fun place. People had a positive atmosphere at the time. It didn't. That changed, and of course, I hate it now. Fights being people being angry at each other, leaving. There were a lot of people leaving. In fact, I was called the so-called glue of YTR because of the fact that I kept trying to bring people together, keep bringing them back. Because at the time, when a person would leave, I didn't, and I kind of still don't, have the courage and or the way, I guess, to start up a conversation out of nowhere. Especially since I'm not really good with talking. Like, what is there to talk about? I have a bunch of Skype contacts even today who I don't even talk to anymore. Because it's not that I hate them, it's just I don't know what to talk about with them, or if they're even like busy. And even if they're not busy, I don't know what to talk about with them, and I don't know if I'm even going to be frequent with them. So, when someone left, it was like they left my life, in technicality, because I didn't know how to talk to them, so it was like I just left somebody. In a group setting where lots of people talk at once, it's easier because someone can just start up a conversation and start discussions. It's much easier for that to happen instead of a one-on-one conversation where it's dependent on both sides holding up the conversation, in which I'm not very good at. Troll war. Like the several people who started making truth videos. I actually have a few files of that. Yeah, that's why the truth also kept coming up several times. Close friends being people in YTR. See how I treat this as if it's more than it should be? That's why, because at the time it was worse than what it actually was. This was also scripted. Also, there's a really bad text thing, and I'll probably try and read it. Matt left, and he was a good friend. He came back eventually, but, you know, left again. Met. You might think I'm talking about the same person, but Met joined around, like, July, I think. It was around the middle of the year. Because Met was so new, because I was a new member, I wanted to help the new people. Kind of like how in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon 2, Bidoof tries to help the new people, which happens to be you because he was the newest. It was that kind of mindset for me with the others, and having them leave just kind of hurt. Because again, I would not be able to talk to them, nor would I be able to see them. Kind of silly, since majority of 2014 and early 2015 I talked to Met for a long time. I also still have him as a Skype contact, but again, we have not talked in ages. Like, at all. Jaber left around August, and, you know, it was kind of my predecessor because he hated him so much, he hated Simon 3 so much, but now he's not even a presence on the internet anymore. He hardly exists anymore. SL is Super Luigi, and he joined and left fairly quickly because of all the negative atmosphere going around. People call it drama, and it was very fitting for what it was. Because of how many people were leaving, it almost seemed like everyone was going to drop off the face of the earth, pretty much. I'm describing what sounds like depression. It was bad. Oh yeah, this is also around the time that Captain pretty much left, plus hated using color codes. Remember what I said about I released episode 4 and he only allowed me to use it for episode 4? Yeah. I needed to have that make story sense as if he left the SM64 world. That was that kind of hurt. I still don't get it. Even with my color code here and the fact that I made this color code, even if I've used this color code through all of Simon douchebags videos and all of all of that time, I'm still not affected by the events, and I just moved on from Starman and I just made SM64 my own. The kind of thing is with Captain, not only does he not like Mario and SM64 stuff at all now, but also apparently that color code brings him bad memories of the group and such. And I understand why that is, but I'm still using mine to this day. I'm still using ACC to this day. I'm still doing SM64 to this day. With the same color code that was used back then in the horror times. And I don't understand. I mean, you wonder why he doesn't object to his earlier videos now, and he never watches them at all. I don't watch mine, but it's the same thing. Yeah, that's why I put a note, this world SM64, because he's gone, his CC is gone, and it's not going to come back. It's not something I agree with, honestly. And especially him, he was, even in his own group before I left because of how silly he acted, he was annoying. Not just because he made noises and was a really annoying leader. He just was boring. He didn't really do anything aside from sit around and maybe make music, but he didn't really do anything. He maybe played a few games, but when Mario Kart 8 came out, that was the only legitimate thing anyone owned that he would play. And if it was anything else, it would just be so boring because it would either be Roblox or some other thing that I wasn't interested in, and it was boring, and I absolutely hated it. So I don't really like him today because of that. And back then, when he did like SM64, the SM64 version of him that I liked, the one that, was happy and liked doing things with us, that's why I was sad, because when he started doing the color code thing, he started changing, and it started to hurt. It's a captain that you'll never see again, and it's a person that will be completely gone. That was YouTube! Okay, yeah, this is the paragraph people complained about because, oh god, it's so ridiculously small. Okay, let's see. I never make text this small ever again. Okay, let me read this before I do things. Also, the cyberbullies, just because I live where I can't do anything. I live where I can't do anything. I live in Australia, therefore I can't help as often. YouTube is just not allowing of anything. I'm not sure what that is trying to imply. They never check hard enough. And oh, I'm talking about the reporting system, because I was reporting all the truth videos. Meanwhile, YouTube was not paying attention. They never check hard enough, and the bad side are also too convinced of Starman 3's idiocy, which is actually true. The baddies, the troll, truth people, they don't stop always focused on one thing and never change. They always kept saying the same things, and they didn't have any proof aside from these same 2012 screenshots to back them up. They all think he's horrible and someone who uses kids for stupid, mature adult things. I never say he's doing pedophilic things, even though, like, he does. I never did want to say that, and now I have practically. Yeah, you can put that against me. But I never, despite the fact that he did do those things while I never looked, I never actually saw him do it in person, with a person, ever at all. No one ever said that he ever did that kind of thing. It was just a bunch of screenshots, and I was like, oh, what? That's not true. But what my assumptions were false. But do they know anything else? All they get is evidence that we don't know who gives out. Because I think the exact chat was dead, and our Skype group was fairly secure, even though it wasn't. I, however, know he doesn't do that because, well, I have a connection I see every day, and he is changing. I wake up at 4 a.m. every day. I saw him in the Skype call, so I thought he was changing every single day. When, in fact, he was just repeating the exact same stuff. These kids are like bullies at school, my school, the people who are samey and don't change and stuff. It was silly. It's basically a paragraph of me moaning that I want to defend Starman 3, even though I don't do that now. But you can see where the hate comes from, because this was how much I legitimately wanted to care for the guy. I saw him very highly, especially to make a video like this where I mope and sit in a room and talk to one person. I'm not proud of the video itself. The video is more about the message it's trying to send. I didn't just want to do text because text is boring. Although this might as well just be text. Because there's nothing else. Basically, I'm trying to say the proof in every single truth video, it has the exact same proof, and they're all saying the same things, and they're not seeing him in person, they're just seeing their own assumptions. Nothing I've said about his behavior has come from my assumptions, aside from this pedophilia thing. Everything that he's done to me and everything he's done to the others is stuff that I've seen and stuff that I know he's done. Nah, I'll just bring them up again. Psychological messages, woo! I actually don't really have any friends. Also, I just wanted to include Akin here because he needs to be here. I'll just end the video early. Yeah. Also, keep this as a trend to how much I use comedic curtains. Because I use it a lot. The subplot behind this was that he wanted to carry a box. I needed context somehow, and it's a ridiculous piece, but it's something. To be honest, nowadays I'm more alone than anything because I don't really have any other friends. This negative attitude. Yeah, it's not supposed to be an attack feeling, it was just because... Yeah, this is basically why. Depression before depression. Or might as well be depression anyway. I'm also mumbling to myself, hoping that the world will get better when it wouldn't. I was noticing the credit thing, so like, whoa. I might as well be careful about mentioning their names. This paragraph seems very silly now, but remember what I said about using color codes and using other people? I was very timid about using people that didn't make sense, and especially since the names are the first I've ever mentioned them in my videos before. So that was kind of why. I also didn't know if they wanted to still do SM64, so they're still doing things. I'm sad. It's stuff that will happen. It's stuff that will happen for a long time. See y'all, have a good day, peace, and I'll see you in my half Halloween special thing.